Good morning, everybody. My name is Joan Ranquet. I'm an animal communicator, author, healer, TEDx speaker, and founder of Communication with All Life University. And today I have a very special guest, Lee, who has taught my school a lot about the Silva Method. And I want to back up. In my school, my students have to do electives. They have to learn either something that's energy related or body work. Well, they have to do one of each. And when we were in the pandemic, as it started, I thought, why don't I try to find some electives for my students? And by chance, I'd already had Lee set up to speak to my students, and the rest is history. We ended up going through Silva Method Basic, we went through manifesting, then we did Back to the Future, then we did general anesthesia, and then we did Life Between Lives, and now we're about to start the full series over again. But I'd like to open it up to more people and for you to understand how it would help animal communication, medical intuition, and healing. So anyway, thank you for joining me today, and sorry about all the technical challenges, but here we are. So Lee, how did you come to the Silva Method?
Oh, I came to the Silva Method ages ago. Is one of those things that seems like chance, but when you look back at it, you think it was meant to be. I was living in Australia at the time, and I'd come over to France just for what was supposed to be a year's sabbatical because I taught French in a high school, amongst other things. And I had 2 weeks holiday in which I went to London to visit a friend. And I met this fascinating gentleman in the underground who turned out later to be my husband. And we got to know each other, and he kept saying, look, you really need to do this Silva Method. He was, like you, Joan, he was one of these people who does it naturally. He's a very, very intuitive. And I kept saying, how do you know that? How can you tell that? You know, he just said, well, I've always done it like that. But then he said, look, if you want to learn how to do it, the best thing you can do is go and do this Silva Method. So I did it back in the mid-80s. And then another series of circumstances came around, and lo and behold, there was no more director in France. And the Silva Method wrote to my then boyfriend, Michael, and said, do you know anybody who lives in France, can speak French, can organize classes? By this time I'd done the class. And he said, sure, my new girlfriend. By that time I was a fiance. And we started organizing classes. And before long we said, hey, you know, we should be doing this ourselves. So in 1988, we did the official Silva instructor training. And I did my first class in October 1988. And I've been teaching it ever since.
Wow.
And training other instructors and having a ball. I love it.
And so what is the Silva Method?
Oh, this is one of the hardest things to just put in a capsule. If I have to put it in one sentence, it's learning to use more of your mind. But that is hugely general. And it is true that when we say using your mind, there are just so many different areas. So part of it is learning how to use your mind by changing your level of consciousness, what you call dropping in, and what we call going to your alpha level, which is a brainwave frequency. So that's fundamental to the rest of the class, because everything that our mind can do, we can do better if we're at the alpha level. Most people spend their time trying to think at a brainwave frequency, which is fine for action, but it's not too good for thinking. So most of our civilization is always in a rush and stressed and trying to do lots of things at once. So most people are trying to use their brain at the wrong level. So a large part of the class is teaching people how to relax, how to slow down all of their rhythms, to do that anytime and any place, even in the middle of a lot of people making a lot of noise, you can do it anywhere. So that's the basic. And then there's all sorts of techniques for whatever you want to do. Like a lot of people use it for health reasons. So we start off with a few health things like being able to sleep better, being able to get rid of headaches, being able to wake up naturally in the morning without an alarm clock. And then we go on to memory, concentration, learning, goal setting, motivation, whole heap of stuff. And we finish up with developing intuition, which of course is very much linked with the sort of work that you're doing. So we have exercises at the end of the class where people present what we call a case to the other person, just a very, very few little details. And the other person has to go to their level, use the tools that they've learned in the class, and they feel like they're guessing, but they get an immediate feedback. This is what is actually this person's case or this problem. And a lot of people are absolutely amazed at that point because they didn't think they could do it. Like I didn't think I could do it when I did the class first. And I found out I'm a really good intuitive, but I needed to learn how to do it. So, because I wasn't someone who already did it naturally.
Well, and
so I hope that's more or less summarized the class. You've done the class. Is there anything I've left out you think is really important?
No, but I would think that what I want to say is that for any level of intuition or animal communication or healing, it seems like you have to get to what I call in my school neutral, which requires an amount of dropping in, of going to level,
yeah,
of being able to be really, really quiet. And so what
yes, I love what you said last night in the Facebook that I couldn't get onto, that basically we're doing the same things but just with slightly different names, but it's all connected.
Yeah.
So maybe I should add also
too is that,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You should.
I said maybe I should also add that one of the things we do is we learn subjective communication with any life form, with other people, with animals, with plants. So it's basically, it seems like telepathy, but it's not quite telepathy, but we call it subjective communication. Again, you need to go to your level and transmit not just thought, but pictures, feelings, intentions, and that works amazingly well. In fact, I've had people come to the class because they'd heard that this class taught subjective communication for animals. In fact, it's only a small part of the whole Silva Cling, but they actually came for that. In fact, one of these people, she first came to do the class nearly 30 years ago, was on the class recently that Marie-Christine ran in French for the first time. So she was on that class.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, and she loved it. Pardon?
Which one was she?
Her name was Leela. I don't think you saw it because she had a problem with her video. But
no, but she has a horse, and yeah,
she has a horse. Yes, yeah, and she absolutely adores it, and they have amazing communication. So she was thrilled to bits to even be able to make that better.
Yeah, that's wonderful. The one thing that I love that you're able to do is teach. So when I say to people drop in and I want them to meditate deeper, you have all the instructions and the levels and the this and that. Whereas I'm just like, well, drop in. I've been doing it for so long. I don't know how to explain it, right? But and it must be a past life thing for me because it's quite easy for me to get quiet really quickly. Right. And I mean, I have been meditating since the 80s, but it's yeah, it is wonderful to have tools and to watch my students be able to really deepen the work that they're doing. Yeah. So, and once people do the
see that.
Yeah, once people do the basic with you, then maybe share a little about the manifesting and the Back to the Future.
Right. Well, before I start, I just want to say that you will understand why your students need help, because it's just like I was with my husband. How do you just tap into your intuition like that? And he said, well, you know, I've always done it like that, but you need a method. So this is what is really great about the Silva method, that Jose Silva, who devised the whole thing, was just so pragmatic. I mean, he was one of the people that always did things naturally. But I mean, he had 10 kids that he wanted to teach how to do it. So he experimented and did with it. And he just pretty well everything that you learn in the Silva method, there's a series of steps. There's a formula. You just do this, this, and this, and you do it at your alpha level, and it starts working straight away. So for anybody who thinks, oh, I haven't got the gift, or no, we've all got the same gifts. We've all got imagination, creativity, ability to communicate with animals, but a lot of us need to be taught how to do it. And that's what the Silva method does. Okay, so that's the basic class, or the foundation class, if you like. It's the foundation for pretty well everything. Silva manifesting is one of a few advanced classes, but the other advanced classes are much more into physical touching for healing and things like that, which I couldn't have done online. So we did Silva manifesting, which was created by Lara Silva, Jose Silva's daughter, and which I loved from the moment I did it, because it takes all sorts of techniques that I thought you could only do, for example, in deep hypnosis or blah, blah, blah. And she sort of silvified them so that anybody could do it. And one of these things was being able to go back into your past and reconnect with a moment in your childhood, or she doesn't do it in Silva manifesting, but we found out also you can do it previous lives or other dimensions, and that in these deep states, you can access anything that you've ever done. So that was a large part. Well, there's lots in Silva manifesting, but I remember that when we got to that particular part, when everybody went back to try and find out where a negative belief or a negative emotion started and who said what to them in their childhood, a lot of people tapped into stuff that they'd completely forgotten or didn't realize they'd ever done. And of course, we spent ages talking about that. And you, Joan, promptly said, we want more of this. So that was the beginning of Back to the Future. Basically, I devised a class just for the people who'd done Silva manifesting with me, so that we could go further with regression. So regression to the childhood, to previous lives, finding out where a problem started. We even did a shamanic voyage to go into the body and energy of an animal, which people did absolutely brilliantly. I loved that. So there was a whole heap of things. So it wasn't a specifically Silva class, but it was based on, you know, to get there, you had to have done the Silva training to know, you know, how to go into your level, how to allow your mind to create things that you think you've forgotten. But what else did we do? We did general anesthesia. Oh, that was just an afternoon class for people who'd had bad experiences during operations under general anesthesia. And basically the idea was to even if you couldn't remember consciously, to reframe it at a deeper level so that people felt that it had passed well. And now I've been doing that for years, and mostly it's been just to help people have a better feeling about themselves and reject anything bad that happened in the operation. But one of our students in the last class, which was Between Lives, said, oh, I just want to tell you what happened after general anesthesia. She had had back pain for 20 years as a result of an operation which didn't go as they hoped it would. And they said, sorry, we can't redo it. You'll just have to live with it. And she did this class where she imagined the whole operation went absolutely super, and people saying, oh, we're so pleased, it went great, you'll be a new woman. And when she came out of the exercise, the back pain had gone, and it hasn't come back since. So I was thrilled to bits, because that's a really physical result from not just, you know, thinking, oh, my mind has changed or mentally I feel better. Sorry, what did you say, Joan?
Oh, I have more mobility still in my ankle after an operation that was in 1995.
You did it operation on your ankle and you're starting to get your mobility back. That's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
I had good
basically
mobility, but I had good mobility, but I have much better mobility. So it's
that
pretty
is
great.
great. That is absolutely great. So it just shows that the mind is the foundation to so much of our stuff: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's all based on the way we think and the way we picture our thoughts. So that's what the training is about, to help you consciously choose the thoughts that you want to have and create the pictures that you want your life to be.
Well, and
And
one
I
of the
love
things that I
teaching
think
this.
is so, I bet I can tell, and we all love that you love teaching it because we love taking it. One thing that I think is really important is,
Yeah.
you know, the world gets caught up in like, oh, I must not be making my affirmations correct, or I must not be thinking positive enough. And there's so much that's embedded within us, and we have to really look at it and go through it in order to help to almost anchor in something that's more appropriate or fits our life better.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Well, I agree. You do need to do it regularly, so it becomes almost a habit. Because, in fact, one of the first parts of the class is what we call mental house cleaning. We look at just the expressions people use every day. I'm sick and tired of it. Oh, it gives me a headache. Or what a pain. And then they wonder why they have aches and pains and headaches because they're literally talking about it. So right from day one, we're looking at, just be aware of the way you think. However, I don't want people saying, oh, I should be doing my affirmations better. I should,
Right.
because anything that's should or must, once a friend of mine said, oh, no, I don't like that. That's masturbation. But we don't want to feel obliged. We want to feel this is something that this is something we want to become natural and that we enjoy. And this is something we want to do because it makes us feel great, not because we should do it.
Right. But the difference between, say, just picking up an affirmation book and the Silva Method is it really gets anchored in.
Absolutely.
You have a technique to be able to use, to anchor it in.
Yeah. So if they learn a technique during the day, we anchor it in, or I say sometimes it's like we install the software, if you like, during a guided exercises where they've all got their eyes closed and they're at alpha. Once they've done that exercise, they're ready to start practicing that technique the minute they get home. So it's done. They just now need to practice and get it better.
And then we did Life Between Lives.
Yes, and I see elements of that are coming out already in your newsletters.
Yeah,
yes,
we had a lot of fun.
Between Lives is probably my favorite exercise. It's a totally different sort of, I mean, already it's amazing if you can go back in time and connect with past lives, but you're actually connecting with another personality and another body. Whereas between lives, you're actually exploring your soul level and who your eternal self is and why you came, in fact, to be in this body now at this particular time, because you wanted to achieve a mission. And when people find out what their mission really is, and even better, that they're actually already doing it, but they doubted it, and now they've got confirmation, that really is life-changing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I loved it.
What else I could say about that? But it's a very long journey. It usually takes a couple of hours to do that, but we're exploring things which, people just say, oh, how do I do it? And it just happened. Everybody who did it just went there, didn't they? And things happened, and they got answers, and they got understandings, and they met soulmates. It was just, nobody said, oh, I couldn't imagine anything. It all happened.
And some of those soulmates were animals.
Yes. definitely we discovered there are a lot of animals out there on the other side, connected with us as well as here.
Well, it's been such a fun journey for me and for the school, and I love, I love the combination. So we're running more classes in, of course, my piece of paper with the dates are over there, but it's November 12th.
I've got the dates of the next class if you wanted that.
Yes.
So, okay. We're doing the next basic class over 2 weeks. So instead of, when it's a live class, it's 4 days, but we don't expect people to sit in front of their computer screen all day. So basically we're doing 8 afternoons, 4 days a week. So the first one starts on Thursday, the 12th of November. So that's the 12th to the 15th. And then we start again the next Thursday on the 19th, and that goes from 19th to 22nd. So that's 2 o'clock EST time. And we go to 5:30 with a half-an-hour break. So there's something called cycles, natural cycles, ultradian, they call them cycles, where most people after an hour and a half just feel like they need a bit of a break or a change in movement or energy. So we do an hour and a half, half an hour break, and then another hour and a half.
That's great. Well,
I don't know if you want me to give them the link on. No, if anybody wants to enroll, they just need to write to, yes.
I'll put it
we can
all
put this on the Facebook, won't you? Put my email and also the link, okay, and the times. Again, that'd be great. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Much easier if it's on a comment. Okay. So, have we covered most of it?
I think we have. I think it's, even if you don't want to be an animal communicator or a healer, it's so profound. And what I noticed, and I think this is really amazing, is that when my students, who I know them, and to watch them at the beginning of the pandemic when there were a lot of unknowns and a lot of people were afraid, they became the calm.
Yeah.
They became the reason. They became really strong people for other people to come to. So they weren't part of the fear, they were part of the solution. So if you did it for no other reason than to walk through life a little more elegantly and have, not needing to hang on to fear or unknown, be wary of the unknown. It's really impactful, and it can't help but to help everybody. And the minute you become that calm person, the ripple effect is unbelievable.
That's beautiful, Joan. Thank you. And if I can also add, if your immune system is going a bit wonky, the stress is the worst thing for it. So just learning to meditate, go to level, we call it dynamic meditation in Silva, is one of the best things you can do to strengthen your immune system. So yeah, make yourself stronger, folks. Stronger and calmer. Stronger and calmer.
Stronger and calmer. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm hoping, well, I know we'll talk because at some point I'll get you here for a live class, but thank you.
Yes. 2021, here we come.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Joan. Okay, it's lovely being your guest, and it's been fantastic teaching your students. They're a great bunch. I love them to bits.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll say goodbye now then. Yes.